The prison that I would never want to see again. It's a twisted double-edged sword, actually. The prison that I'd never want to see again is Greensville Correctional Center. If you get hurt there, better not hold your breath because nobody's coming. Greensville's the largest prison in Virginia. It's divided into 3 sections. They're called clusters. And there's a lot of cross-unit security protocol. And what this means is while you're lying on the floor dying, the nurses and medical staff are out there getting patted down and all their bags are getting searched by security staff. They can't just come running and run straight to you. I've seen them on their way to medical situations that were deadly. And they just walked casually talking about their hair probably. And it's just crazy, man. They don't care anything about us, man. Then one of the other bad things about it is, okay, at most other prisons, when I go to segregation, I consider it a vacation. It's like you recharge. Segregation, aka the hole at Greensville, is the most lonely place I'd ever been to. It's like you're the only one there and there's nobody else around anywhere. At most prisons, everybody in the hole get on the door and talk to each other through the crack. And it's like you can't even really talk to people in there. It's like you're locked away from the world. Okay, another reason I never want to go back to Greensville is because there's so much violence there that the place is always on lockdown. Anytime there's a violent assault, a jumping, a stabbing, any type of beatdown, the place goes on lockdown. At least your unit or building does. And they conduct an investigation. So, like, you're on lockdown all the time. For someone like me that's got plans to do tattooing on people, being on lockdown all the time, it's in the way, man. I've had cell partners that were like, man, I'm so glad we're on lockdown. Like, they're scared to be out in the pod. They're scared to have to walk the chow. So they love it when you go on lockdown. But I don't like it. I don't go for it. The lockdowns are in the way. You can cancel outside rec, walk in the chow, or anywhere. You stay in your cell until they're done with their investigation. Nobody wants to be on lockdown, man. But there's so many violent incidents. It's just inevitable. Then they're short on staff half the time. So outside rec gets canceled anyway. Like, they are always short on staff, man. So they have to shut the rec yards down and all this stuff. It makes it bad for somebody trying to do their time. But I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about for my situation. So I'm a tattooer and I make money sitting in my cell tattooing on people. It takes me time and effort to set up my shop and get it going anyway. You don't just jump straight in there and start tattooing. You got to set up for it and all that. Then you take some rumble or stabbing and boom, it shuts me down for the day. I'm done. There's a lot of other people in situations like that. Somebody might be bagging up wine or cooking wine in the clear. And then an incident happens and their shit gets knocked off because the incident happened. And the double whammy for me is when somebody does get stabbed up and they come in and look in every nook and cranny looking for a knife, they find all my tattooing gear. And I got to start all over again. And it's kind of difficult in prison, starting over with tattooing gear. You got to make ink all the way from burning checkers, chess pieces, grease or something to make soot. It's just a headache, man, every time my tattooing gear gets knocked off and I got to start over again. It's an issue. When the prison goes on lockdown for these violent incidents, it just messes me all up, and many others too. You can't even get in the shower on a lockdown. When you're on lockdown of any type, showers are only given every 72 hours. And sometimes it's longer than that if they're short on staff. It's required by law that they give you a shower every 72 hours at the minimum. And I also feared that I would have a situation one day where I had some type of gang hit put on me. And I wouldn't even be able to report it to the officers because the officers are so corrupt. If you go and report something like that to them, they're going to go right back to the inmates and tell them. You can see that in news footage I posted in one of my videos here, where a staff member had a relationship with a known blood gang member. And a murder plot derived out of that. If you have some kind of problem, you can't even go report it, man. Not at Greensville. When you got issues with other people, they're so unorganized and so slack, man. I have seen a guy get in a fight and getting his ass whipped. So he went in the cell, got a knife, came back out, stabbed the dude. So we went on lockdown. They locked him up, put him in the hole. let us back off lockdown. Well, when them guys came out the hole, they put both of them back in the same pod. You know what happened. And the food at Greensville Correctional Center is some of the worst. The food is just disgusting, man. No flavor. And now I know why. The kitchen workers steal it all to take back to the pod for their own food and to sell it. I didn't understand that until I worked at Indian Creek Correctional Center's kitchen, because I became the thief then, which I'm going to get to. There's going to be some videos about that here. Then personal property is so crazy at Greensville. Like, if you order a new television, man, it might take 3 months for you to get it. I've seen people order stocking cap and sweatpants for the winter time at the beginning of the winter, and they got it when it was springtime. It's crazy, right? But it's how it is, man. They're so understaffed, disorganized, dysfunctional. There's no accountability for staff when they act up or do wrong, that the place is just, it's just wild. And now, the reason I say it's a double-edged sword at the beginning of this is because now I'm going to make a video of the prison that I would want to go back to if I had a choice in it and I was in prison again. It's Greensville.